Hi friends, this is Engineer Imran Aziz. I'm here with another episode of my video series on building and town planning. And this is basically the part two of our ongoing video series on this topic. So here I am going to present next 25 MCQs questions which are very important for your next exam. So let's move to the topic. As I mentioned earlier as well, my name is Engineer Imran Aziz, and I will bring 25 multiple choice questions in every part of the video series. And today's topic is on building and town planning. So here, the process would be we will be presenting a question, and then its options will be discussed, and then the correct option will also be highlighted in our video so that engineers and engineering professional students could get help out of this material for preparing themselves for the upcoming exam or the job interviews. So let's begin with today's part. We are starting this part 2 with question number 26. As in part 1, we have already discussed questions from question 1 to 25. So here is question number 26, which is the objective of town planning are. Options are available: A, to promote the healthy surroundings; B, to make correct use of land; C, to avoid mutual conflicts by proper zoning; and D, all of these. Why we do town planning? Objectives are very much clear. All of these are correct. We want to promote a healthy environment for our town as well as for the surrounding area and overall for the city. And we want to use correct use of the available land. That's why we do the town planning, and of course we want to avoid any conflicts within the town. So we divide that town in zones. We have already discussed this in the previous lecture. Therefore, all the options are correct. That's why option D is correct answer for this question number 26. Question 27. A strip of land provided on the periphery of the town for special purpose of limiting a growth of a town is known as number A, embankment; number B, green belt; number C, housing land; number D, all of these. So normally town planners, while planning a town, they provide a barren or the open land at the periphery or the border of the town in order to avoid that the town should not go beyond its jurisdiction as an unplanned manner. And if therefore they provide a green belt or an open space at the end of the town. So therefore option B is correct, which is green belt. Question number 28. Which of the following places comes under sound sensitive zones? So while planning a town, there are different zones as we discussed earlier. So the sound sensitive zones are the areas where either schools or hospitals are planned. So options available with us were factories, B, auditorium; C, educational and healthcare institutes; and D is restaurants. So of course option C is correct, which is educational and healthcare institutes. So these comes under the sound sensitive zones of a town. Question number 29. Which land use is considered incompatible with residential neighborhoods? So within a town, there are different zones. Among them, some would be residential zones, commercial zone, educational zones, industrial zones. So which is considered as incompatible with respect to residential neighborhood? So of course, it's not commercial use, it's not residential use, its industrial use. Industries are normally not planned within the residential area. They are planned uh, on the other side of the residential area due to various reasons, their traffic, their pollutions, and their drainage, etc. So that's why option C for this question is correct. Question number 30. Building with window facing dash or dash provide good access to illumination and effortless shading. So question is about how we should provide window in a building. It should so that it should get maximum lighting inside the building, and the effortless shading is available with us. So the options available were A, uh, east and west, north, south, southwest. So option B is correct, which is north, south. Building windows facing north or south provide good access to illumination and effortless shading. Question number 31. What is functional building design? What is functional building design? Number A design that serves its purpose well. Yes. Secondly, a design that is flexible and adaptable to the changes of the tenant, like the residents who are basically designing that project or that building. And option C is both of them. Yes, option C is correct. A design which should be functional design, that building which has the functional building design, so that design should fulfill its purpose as well as the requirements or the needs of the tenants or residents of that area or that building. So that design should be flexible. If people want some changes with respect to their needs, so that design should be able to accommodate their changes and their needs. It should be flexible as well as adaptable for the residents of that locality. So option C is correct for this question. 32. What is a key element of prospective drawing in town planning? Uh, while we make the drawings, all engineers should be knowing this, that there is an important thing for each and every design, and that is the scale of that design. So here we have the options: shadow casting, B, scale representation, C, color saturation, D, texture mapping. So key element of perspective drawing in town planning is option B, scale representation. Because scale is very much important, it has to be represented on the drawing in order to get the proper measurements of the actual site conditions. Next, question number 33. In town planning, what does a master plan primarily outline? Uh, let's discuss a bit about the master plan. Master plan is basically a plan is done at initial stages while we are planning to mm, do the town planning of any area or any city. So that master plan is a long-term plan. Maybe after 50 years, after 100 years, we propose things as per the long-term needs of that area or that town. So those features are placed in the master planning at the master planning stage. So question was in town planning, what does a master plan primarily outline? Options were number A, detailed architectural design, number B, zoning regulations, number C, long-term development goals, number D, short-term infrastructure projects. As I discussed earlier, master planning is our long-term planning. So long-term developmental goals are to be set in the master planning of that town. So option C is correct for this question. Question number 34. What is the purpose of detailed town planning scheme? Uh, After the master planning, then we come to the detailing of the planning, detailing of the town planning. So options available with us were: A, allocating resources for immediate construction; number B, identifying potential environmental hazards; number C, providing guidelines for building materials; number D, specifying regulations for land use and development. So option D is correct with respect to detailed town planning scheme. We specified various regulations for land use and development in the detailed planning section or stage. So option D is correct. Question number 35. Which of the following is not a consideration in estimation of future and in estimating future needs in town planning? Which of the following is not a consideration in estimating future needs in town planning? Number A, population growth; economic trends; C, historical preservation; number D, technological advancements. So um, while we consider various factors in the town planning, we do not consider historical preservations for the future aspects of a town. We definitely consider population growth, we consider economic trends, we consider technological advancements, but yes, we do not consider historical preservations. Question number C is, I'm sorry, option C is correct for this question. Next is 36. What are planning standards for density distribution primarily concerned with? What are planning standards for density distribution primarily concerned with? Number A, balancing green space and built up areas; B, promoting mixed land use; C, minimizing traffic congestion; D, maximizing industrial zoning. So whenever the word density comes, it refers to the population, and for the future planning of a town, uh, town planner considered that the green spaces or the open spaces versus the built up area should be in a balanced approach. So definitely the answer to this question is A, which is balancing green spaces and built up areas. So we consider this to disperse the density of the population. Question number 37. Which legislative framework often governs town planning activities? So here we will discuss various acts, codes. So question was, which legislative framework often governs town planning activities? So town planning activities are normally comes are covered under municipal services. So municipal act basically covers the town planning activities. The Environmental Protection Act is not specifically for any town. It may be for a province, for a state, but not specifically for our town. There is environmental impact assessment for any town, but the act is not specifically for any specific town. It is a general government legislation which might be for a state, for a country, even for a city. But municipal services basically covers the town planning, or the normally towns get NOCs or no objection certificates from the municipal committees. So that is the reason why town get NOC from the municipal committee. Basically, they comes under the municipal laws. So option A, B, and C are not correct for this question. Municipal Act is correct, which is option D. Question number 38. What is a key aspect of implementing town planning initiatives? What is a key aspect of implementing Town planning initiatives. Number A, maximizing short-term profits. Number B, adhering strictly to original plans. C, flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances. Number D, minimizing community involvements. So basically, key aspect of implementing a town planning initiative, why we go for a town planning, is basically it should be flexible and adaptive, as we discussed earlier, flexibility to adapt changing circumstances. So, with the passage of the time, with the growth of the population, with the economic developments, there are changes, and that town planning initiative or activities should be flexible to adapt those changes. So, option C is correct. We don't do town planning to maximize our profits, just to we consider them, but that is not a key aspect. Adhering strictly to the original plans, yeah, plans gets changed with the needs, with the time. So minimizing community involvement, no, we don't consider this. And option C is more suitable for this question, which is flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances. 39. What does urban financing typically involve in context of town planning? What does urban financing typically involve in context of town planning? Urban financing. Number A, tax incentives for developers. Number B, funding sources for infrastructure projects. Number C, subsidies for public transportation. Number D, grants for historical preservations. So, urban financing typically contributes towards having a public fund available with that town or that municipal authority, so that infrastructure projects could be governed, could be developed, and could be implemented. So, option B is correct for this question, which is funding sources for infrastructure projects. So urban financing is basically a funding source for the developmental initiatives of a town or that area to carry out the infrastructure projects. Question number 40. What is a primary objective of slum clearance schemes in urban planning? So slum, we already know that slum is basically a population which is either settled over there unplanned before a town planner goes and wanted to plan that area and do the town planning, or maybe they are sitting in at the outskirts of that town, and as an ill-planned or unplanned manner, and there is no proper drainage or proper infrastructure facilities for those that community. So that type of community is basically comes under slums, which are basically settled as an ill-planned manner. Wherever people get the space, they used to construct their houses and similarly keep on growing. So basically, question was, what is a primary objective of slum clearance? Why we clear the slums from a town? Uh, Number one is increasing property values. Yes, it contributes toward increasing the property value of a town, but that is not a primary objective to clear a slum. Number B, reducing population density. Yes, this is also contributing, but this is also not a primary objective. Primary objective, option C, is improving living conditions of residents. Yes, this is the basically primary objective to clear a slum. We wanted to improve the living standards within our society or within our town, for which we are doing the town planning. So this is basically the sole objective of clearing a slum from a town, from a land. So town slum clearing schemes are basically designed to improve the living conditions of the residents of that area or that zone. Expanding industrial zone, no. So option C is correct for this question. Let's move on to next question number 41. Which aspect of town planning is concerned with controlling air and water pollution? Which aspect of town planning is concerned with controlling air and water pollution? Of course, air and water pollution comes under environmental impact assessment, as I discussed earlier. During the planning stage of any town, any city, any municipal area, we do the environmental impact assessment of that area, and we normally consider these aspects of air pollution, water pollution, during the impact assessment of that area. So option A is correct. Option B was zoning regulations. Option C is land acquisition. Option D is traffic management. But all these comes later. Initially, the air and water pollution controlling comes under the uh, environmental impact assessment. So option A is correct. 42. What is the primary purpose of planning standards for traffic network? What is the primary purpose of planning standards for traffic network? Why we do planning for traffic network, or why we introduce standards for uh, traffic network during the time town planning? Options were: number A, minimizing pedestrian traffic. Option B is optimizing vehicle speed. Option C is ensuring efficient transport flow, and option D is maximizing road capacity. So primary purpose of planning standards for traffic network is to ensure the flow of transportation system within that town. So option C is correct for this question. Question number 43. What does the term density zones refers to in town planning? Density zones uh, refers to in a town planning. Number A, area with high population density. This we already discussed. Density means thickly populated area, or the dense area means more population in a lesser area, or uh, less space. Number B, industrial zone. Number C, protected natural reserves. Number D, low density residential areas. So option A, areas with high population density is the correct answer. What does the density zone means? It's the area where high population is residing. So question number 44. How does a growth model contributes to town planning? How does a growth model contributes to town planning? Number A, predicting future population trends. Growth mean increasing population. So option A is correct. B was minimizing environmental impact. C is maximizing land conservations. D is streamlining bureaucratic processes. No. Option A is correct, which is predicting future population trends. Number 45. What does what role do action plans play in the town planning? So action plan basically comes after the master planning. Master planning is the initial stage where we do some long-term planning, and then action plans comes under the master planning, and it is sort of a strategic or the infrastructure implementation stage of the planning. So options available with us were: A, setting long-term developmental goal. No, setting long-term developmental goal is basically our master plan. So option A is not correct. Number B, implementing specific strategic projects or strategies and projects. Yes, we do action plans for implementing strategies or our projects. So option B is correct. Option C was enforcing zoning regulations, and D is conducting environmental impact assessments. So we already discussed environmental impact assessment earlier. We discussed master planning earlier. We discussed zoning regulations. So option B is correct for this question, which is implementing specific strategies and projects uh, under action plans. Question number 46. How does land acquisition contributes to town planning? Options were land acquisition contributes to town planning. Uh, A. Increasing property values. B. Preserving natural habitats. Number C. Facilitating infrastructure development. Number D is limiting urban spreading. How does land acquisition contribute to town planning? It facilitates the infrastructure development. Of course, if we don't have the land, we cannot do the infrastructure planning or infrastructure project. So once we acquire the land for a town, then we start basically, then it facilitates our infrastructure initiatives or our infrastructure development projects. So option C for this question is correct, which is facilitating infrastructure development. Increasing property values, no, it comes at later stage once the infrastructure is a bit developed. Then, of course, the property value of that area or that town would be increased. But in a barren land, the property value will not be increased. Of course, we have to develop some roads, some drainage, or some at least some development initiative is to be started in order to raise the property value of that town. So land acquisition basically contributes towards the facilitating infrastructure development. Question number 47. What is a key consideration in urban growth planning? What is a key consideration in urban growth planning? Number A, maximizing land use efficiency. Number C, expanding agricultural areas. Number D, ignoring community feedback. Yes, urban growth planning maximizes land use efficiency. So option A is correct for this question. 48. Which factor is not typically considered in urban planning legislation? Again, legislation part comes in, but here the question is a bit twist, like which factor is not considered in urban planning legislation? A. Historic preservation, we do consider this. Environmental conservation, we consider this. Number C. Economic inequality. Public safety, we consider public safety. So option C is correct for this question. We do not consider economic inequality during urban planning legislation. Number 49. What is primary goal of pollution control aspects in town planning? Why we do pollution control initiatives or projects? Number A option was maximizing industrial emission. No, we don't want to maximize the industrial waste or pollution. Number B, ensuring clean air and water quality. Yeah. Number C, expanding landfills. Number D, encouraging use of non-renewable resources. So it's very obvious and very much clear that the goal, primary goal of pollution control initiatives during town planning is to ensure clean air and water. And this has also been discussed earlier that we do consider this aspect while doing our town planning, and it is one of the key consideration for a town planner. So here we have the last question of our this episode, which is question number 50. What does the term planned unit development typically refers to? What does the term planned unit development? So options were number A, randomly organized urban settlements. Number B, zoning regulations for industrial areas. Number C, coordinated development projects. Number D, historic preservation districts. Yes, sir. Yes, option number C is correct for this question. Planned unit development means coordinated developmental infrastructure projects. So option C is correct for this question. So thank you very much for watching this video and supporting this initiative. I request once again through this message that you please go through all these materials, come with your comments in the comment section, and give me more suggestions that which topics should be covered in depth, and which videos or which topic should be considered for our upcoming videos. As I earlier mentioned in the intro, that these videos are the sole purpose of these videos is to help the professional engineers who are planning to appear either in the uh, Public Service Commission exam, whether it is at state level, whether it is at federal level, or at any provincial level, or the junior engineer exams, or any exam where you need civil engineering MCQs questions. So nowadays people have very less time to go to the bookshops and get the relevant books and sit for a study hour or time. So these videos can contribute toward this aspect and can help our engineering community. So that's all from my side today. I again request to follow me at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Same handle is there at every platform. You have to just type in CivTech Simplified, and you will be there. And we have a lot of material available in our playlists. So thank you all. See you in the next video. Bye.